Hey folks, my name is David Faltzgraf, and I'm the founder and lead sound designer here at SundaySounds.com. We're really excited to be able to provide you with high-quality, song-specific MainStage patches for today's most popular modern worship songs. Using our MainStage patches, you can nail these songs live, even if you're not using backing tracks and you're the only keyboard player. The great thing about all our MainStage patches is that you don't need any expensive third-party plugins or software. You just need MainStage 3 running on any modern Mac computer, and you can use these patches live. We've designed this patch at the original tempo and in the original key of the song, but there's a video tutorial on the product page that you can check out after you've purchased the patch if you need to do the song in a different key or at a different tempo than the original. To make things even easier for you, we've pre-mapped this patch to our Sunday Keys MainStage template. So if you have Sunday Keys, you can just drag and drop this patch right into your concert, and it will be pre-mapped to the extra section. There's no setup work or mapping required. Just drag it in, and you're ready to play. Now I'm going to hand this over to Ryan, who's going to walk you through the various sections of the patch to teach you how to use it to nail this song live. Let's take a look.
Hey everyone, Ryan here from Sunday Sounds. Now before we actually get started playing this patch, there are just a few things I wanted to go over with you. The first is that we are playing this song patch in its original key of A and at its original tempo of 122 BPM. And so if you did need to change one or both of those things, just head over to the webpage for this song patch. We have a video tutorial there that will guide you through making those changes. Next, we use the mod wheel to move in and out between different sections of the song. And so if you don't have a mod wheel, well, we actually have a video tutorial over on our blog. And that will show you how you can set up a fader or a knob to work in place of the mod wheel. And if you don't happen to have faders or knobs on your MIDI keyboard like I do here, you could always pick up a Korg Nano Control 2. It's a great way to add both faders and knobs straight to your keys rig. Plus we have this Sunday Keys skin available on our website. If you're using Sunday Keys, it makes the layout very intuitive. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So throughout this song patch, we're just going to be playing either single notes in the left hand, the bass note of the chord, or octaves. With the exception of in the bridge, we add a little bit of chord work, but for the most part, just single notes or octaves. In the right hand, we have lead lines, and so all we have to worry about is those lead lines, and mostly just single notes. We start out with the mod wheel all the way down, and we play our A chord here with this note. We're going to start off with a droning pad with some heavy bass underneath, and then we're going to move the mod wheel up to about 30 or 40%, just stay under 50, and that's going to bring in some arps and build into our first chord progression. I'm going to go ahead and play through that now. And so as I did move that mod wheel up towards 40%, we did start to fade in those arps. Now in the left hand, we have our A chord, which once again is here, our D, which we play here, our F sharp minor, and then our E. In the right hand, we have a lead line, and that sounds like this. Now we actually get to reuse this lead line a couple of times through the song. We're going to use it in our verse, our second verse, and then at the end of our chorus. So make sure that you remember that part. As we move into our first verse, we have the mod wheel about 30 or 40. And then we keep with single notes in the left hand on those chords. I'm going to play through that verse, and then we'll go back and look at it. And that sounds like this. And that is verse 1. So really similar to the intro, just no lead line for verse 1. From there we move into verse 2, and we start to bring in that lead, and that sounds like this. So just adding that same lead that we learned for the intro. Now at the very end of that verse, we do push the mod wheel up just a bit into that 50, maybe even 60% range. That gets us into our chorus. Now really the only difference between 30 to 40 to 50 to 60 is that we bring in this string arp, or rather it's in, but we emphasize it more. So I'm going to let you hear how that sounds. And those strings are a big part of driving that chorus through. Now for this first chorus, we actually don't have any leads in the right hand, and we're just going to play either single notes in the left, or you can do the octave. It's just going to be a single piano note with the top end of the octave there, so that is optional. I like to add it in just to add a little bit more. And that chorus sounds like this. So for the chorus, either you can choose octaves or single notes, as we covered. And then at the very end of that chorus, and this is the only chorus that we do this for, we're actually going to stay on that A for 2 more bars, and then play that lead line that we had in the intro and the verse twice through. And then we go right into verse 3. Now verse 3 is very similar to the other 2 verses as far as the chord progression, but this time we're going to leave the mod wheel up a bit, so we do have that string arp going. And then in the right hand, we change the lead a bit. Now in the left hand, you can either go back to single notes or keep with the octaves. And that third verse sounds like this. And that ends verse 3. The lead in the right hand, isolated and slowed down, sounds like this. From verse 3, we go straight into verse 4, and it is exactly the same as verse 3, so I'm not going to play through it again, but it is the same, we keep that lead. Now, from the end of verse 4, we go into our next chorus. We're going to play either single notes or octaves, whatever you've been going with. And then we change the lead up again in the right hand for this chorus. And that sounds like this. That lead in the right hand, isolated and slowed down, sounds like this. So C sharp, B, A, low C sharp. With one exception, and that's when we play our D chord, we change the bottom note to a D. So if you notice at the very end of the chorus, I actually bumped my mod wheel all the way up to 100%. So from about 50 or 60, wherever we're sitting at. And what that does is that gets us ready to go into our bridge. The bridge starts off with just an instrumental through the bridge, and then we come in with the singing. We're actually going to keep the same chord structure and the exact same parts through both of those parts of the bridge. And then we have at the end our bridge outro, and we're going to change the chord structure just a little bit. But for the bulk of the bridge, it's going to sound just like this. And we actually just repeat that throughout all of the bridge. So in the left hand, we are jumping from a C sharp to a D, and we are going to use the octave there. And then from there we go F sharp minor to our E. In the right hand, we have this lead line. And the lead is just repeated throughout. Now at first the timing can seem a little bit confusing for how we put these hands together. So here's just a note to make this easier. The first note in the left hand, so that C sharp, comes in when we play the second note in the right hand, so that B. So slowed down. So we hit that on the B. And then when we go to the second note, so the D, we hit that at the same time as our last note, the E. So just practice doing that, where we're playing the B, the C sharp at the same time, and the D and the E at the same time. And then for the next part, where we have that F sharp down to the E, we start the F sharp and the B at the same time. And then we hit the E and the last B at the same time. So practice doing that a few times. And then we can put that all together. And you can leave it just like that, but I actually like to add in this piano fill that comes in between the chords. And so what we do for that is we're just going to alternate between an A and an E, something like this. And we just do that between the D and the F sharp, so like this. And then for between the F sharp and E, we're going to keep that same A and E, but we're actually going to move from there down to the G sharp, about halfway through. And so that sounds like this all together. And we're going to play that through a few times. The singing comes in, and we keep it going strong there. Now eventually we do build up and add the top octave lead. It will be the exact same notes that we're going to use for that upper octave. And depending on how intense you want that lead, you can either keep it with single notes up in this higher octave, or if you want a more intense lead, you can add in the lower notes as well and do the full octave there. We keep the octave high as we go into our bridge outro, and as I mentioned before, this bridge outro is where we do have a slight change in our chord pattern. So we start out actually the same, where we're jumping between our C sharp D, F sharp minor E, that's all the same. This time though we change it when we repeat, so we go C sharp, F sharp. So instead of C sharp, D, it's C sharp, F sharp, and then the same F sharp, E to finish it out. Now when we jump to this F sharp, if you want to keep that piano fill going, you will just keep it the same way with the A and the E as we did whenever we had the D. So I'm going to play through that bridge outro really quick with just the high octave going, and just pay attention to how I play that F sharp minor. And that sounds like this. And so at the end, we do fade out the mod wheel to bring down everything back to pad and piano and play our single A note here. That brings us right back into our chorus, which is a down chorus. So we can just play, either we can hold out on the A and just let the pad drone and fill, or you can play the chorus chords, just single notes in the left hand. It's up to you if you want to have that piano and the pad changing a bit. But that is actually all the parts of the song. I hope that you have enjoyed this tutorial. This patch was a blast to make, and it's even more fun to play. One last thing before I let you go, I wanted to let you know that we have a Facebook group called Sunday Sounds Insiders. And we have just tons of like-minded worship keyboard players there. It's truly a great community, and we talk about MainStage and sound design, all sorts of things worship and keys related. And we also post a song patch poll there regularly, where you can actually vote for the next song specific patch that we will make. So it would be really cool to see you over in that group and get to meet you there. Until then, I'm Ryan from Sunday Sounds. We'll see you next time.